We're good, Mayor Rushford.
Well, thank you very much, and welcome council to this meeting of Tuesday, June 14th, and it's a beautiful Tuesday, and so let's have a good and speedy meeting. Nice weather. Let's move forward with the adoption of the agenda.
There was an amendment to the agenda this morning. There was an amendment to add another item to the in-camera session, yes. So that the draft in council.
I have two items like 3 and 4.
Okay.
One in camera identifying the resident. And the second one, speaking about the wages for public works.
The resident of the municipality. I require a mover and a second. Moved by Councilor Kelly and seconded by that the draft agenda presented to council and dated the 14th day of June 2022 be amended with the following. Add under item 17 in camera session under section 239 bracket 2 item B, personal matters and identify as individual, including municipal or local board employees regarding fire chief and East Barrett's resident. Add under item 17 in camera session under section 239 bracket 2 bracket B, labor relations or employee negotiations regarding
Wages.
Okay, rate of pay for
Public works.
public works department.
And the other one's already.
The other one was
Thank you so much. So with those amendments, all in favor? Thank you so much, carried. We move forward to the acceptance of minutes of the previous meeting.
I require a mover and a second. Moved by Councilor Champagne and seconded by Mayor Kemp. That the minutes of the regular council meeting held May 24th, 2022, and the minutes of the special council meeting held June 2nd, 2022, be adopted as circulated.
Favor? Carried. Any business arising from the minutes? There being none, declarations of conflict of interest or pecuniary interest thereof. There being none, chair's comments. I do have one comment that I would like to make. I'm thinking I have two, but there's one comment. I do want to, on behalf of council, to welcome back Councillor Loggy. We've been away, it seems a good month and a half, almost 2 months, and so we missed you. And on behalf of council and the municipality, we'd like to congratulate you on the campaign you ran. Every time I saw pictures of you, you were walking and knocking on doors, and so I'm sure many citizens enjoyed meeting you and hearing about the things that are important to you about your party and yourself. So congratulations.
Thank you.
On your work. On that note, we proceed to delegations to council. We do have one this evening. And yes, I turn it over to you, Mr. Jesse.
Thank you, Mayor Rochford. So I will admit Karen Jones Consulting into our meeting. They are here this evening to do a wrap-up report on our trade show that we have made. I'm not sure if Greg wants to add anything to that.
Sure, thanks, Jason. I'll just be very brief. We have Natasha Penn from Karen Jones Consulting with us tonight. She's going to give us a bit of an overview of basically the statistics for the trade show, a number of people we had come in, some info about our police registration, our sponsorship. So I'll leave it at that, and I'll pass it over to Natasha. But I'll just very quickly, on behalf of the municipality, say a big thank you to Natasha and her team. They did an excellent job out advertising, running, doing everything with the trade show again this year. And I think we were all happy to be back in person at the trade show this year.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
You can hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Wonderful. Well, thank you for the opportunity for coming to speak. And again, thank you on behalf of Karen Jones Consulting for hiring us to run the trade show for the 7th year, which is exciting. I will share my screen now, I believe, when I have permission, if possible. Just have a little presentation to kind of walk through, again, what Greg had said, just to go over some of the statistics of the event. Perfect. Thank you, Jason.
All
right. Now, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Wonderful. So again, I just wanted to thank everyone for the time today and again for selecting us to operate the East Fairs Trade Show. This is our 7th year with a couple of years break in between. I believe it was kicked off in 2014 through some support through the RED funding, and it's continued ever since. And again, the economic development strategy really does highlight that events such as these really are critical to the business community. The main obviously piece of having the trade show is kind of providing that opportunity for businesses not only to network with potential customers and consumers both locally, but also across the region, but also allow the businesses to connect with each other. We always hear success stories of companies that were unaware of certain companies or businesses or organizations located in the area and being able to then purchase supplies and goods from each other, which is wonderful. Again, just kind of pulling in that family component, we do try and make sure that there is a variety of different activities, which we'll kind of cover a little bit in the next slide, but really that helps generate more traffic through the door as well and allows the parents and other vendor or people to connect with the vendors themselves. So again, this trade show was hosted on May 28th. We traditionally do host it on the last weekend or the weekend after the long weekend in May, just so that we're not competing with the launch of the North Bay Farmers Market and other farmers markets that are happening in the area. So just a quick highlight of some of the event overviews. So we had 54 vendors in total at the event this year. So in 2019, we had 57 vendors. So it was 3 short than 2019. However, we did have 3 or 4 drop the last kind of week or 2 prior to. So we were on track to meet or exceed those numbers previously. Again, there was a lot of apprehension even when we were launching at first the signing up a booth due to the pandemic. However, as we got closer, there was a lot more interest. And when you were on the floor talking to the vendors, everyone was excited to have a back in-person event. I think it was, if not the first, one of the first trade shows that happened in the region. So it was definitely exciting to see everyone kind of come through the doors. And there was over 1,000 people that attended the trade show that we were able to capture. Again, previously, we had 1,159. This year we had 1,046, but we actually had a lot of traffic also coming through the back because we had some of the activities in the schoolyard there. So we weren't able to capture those numbers. However, again, over 1,000 people through the doors of the first trade show in a couple years, I think is a testament to how excited people are to be back at in-person events themselves. In total, we had $11,750 in cash private sponsorship that was generated this year, which is definitely the highest we've ever had. In 2019, we raised $7,500 in sponsorship, so we're $4,250 over previous years. What was really exciting is that we're starting to see businesses that have become kind of those dedicated sponsors of the event, but they're climbing up in their values. So obviously they're seeing a value in being a part of the show and also giving back and contributing back to the show. And I'll show a list of the sponsors in the next slide. Just some of the impressions through social media advertising. So we were able to reach over 10,000 people and 40,000 impressions through the advertising that was done on Facebook. Again, that was a good return on investment because I think it was around $100 or so that was spent on social media advertising. And I think moving forward, we'd like to increase that. However, it was just, we wanted to show some of the impression numbers. And over 7,000 people reached during the week of the event leading up as we kind of had some sponsored ads going up through there. We did have a good partnership with the local radio station 90.5 FM. So we had Kevin Olszewski at live on location from 9 till 1, where he's kind of be able to connect with different vendors and some of the municipal staff, and as well as some of the sponsors, just to promote the event itself and the happenings that were going on throughout the day. We had 2 kind of fundraising initiatives going on. So one through the lead team who hosted a fundraising pancake breakfast. I wasn't able to connect in time to get their the money fundraised through them. But as soon as I get that update, I will share it with Jason and Greg and the team, and we can put that out. And then for the Municipal Ukraine fundraiser, there was $1,981 raised at the event itself. And then I believe there was over 6,000 raised through some of the promotional efforts that were done. So through the video and the flyer and that type of thing after the fact. So again, kudos to council and municipal staff for really taking the lead on that and for being able to use the trade show as a venue to promote that initiative as well. We did try and diversify some of the offerings this year. So we had, typical face painting and balloon art. The inflatables were up in the, as well as the bubble soccer were happening at the school. We had the fire trucks outside, which is always a good hit with the children. And we also had an indoor beer garden that came in. So we tried to utilize the curling club this year. So we had a great partnership with them as well as the Golden Age Club for the indoor beer garden, as well as the shuffleboards. And then we also brought in live entertainment. So we had the East Ferris Old Time Fiddle Club, as well as Ali, who provided live music. I think next year we already have, if that opportunity arises, some good kind of ideas on how to kind of make that bigger and better, maybe even utilizing outdoor space and kind of just really creating an atmosphere for everyone to enjoy. And then our food vendor we had outside did extremely well this year. I believe that was Robin Steed that came with her food truck, and she did very, very well. So she was excited to attend and has already reached and expressed interest for coming in coming years. So again, this is a list of our sponsors this year. So a total of 11,750 was raised in cash, and then including our 2 in-kind sponsors. So we had Northern Bounce, who provided or sponsored the bouncy castles that were hosted in the schoolyard, as well as Lucky 13, who provides vendor coffee for everyone. Or I don't think it's even just for vendors. I think it's for anyone that enters on the floor that needs coffee. That actually came up to 13,500 through sponsorship, both in kind and private. And like I said, it was nice to see a large number of companies coming on this year with a total of 15 sponsors, 17 if you include the 2 collaborations between the 4 companies of Degania Carpentry, Gus, Profound, and Lefebvre's. Even speaking with KRMT Wellness Studio, previously she came in as a bronze sponsor, and this year she came up at the platinum, and she really did see value and was excited to be a part of the show. And we've already been talking about moving things in for next year, and how she really enjoyed being able to offer a kind of an interactive booth at the show itself. So that was a great kind of feedback that we received from some of those sponsors as well. So for revenue, this year we actually increased the booth prices by $25 for the early bird. So previously we've gone in at $125 plus HST, and the regular price was $175 plus HST. However, because everything is obviously increasing in price, and we do provide breakfast, or you do provide breakfast and lunch to vendors, we did increase it by $25 this year. Just a total, we put in the municipal contribution. We kept that kind of similar to previous years, which is around 17,000. Our sponsors came in, again, only cash only was the 11,750. And then booth rentals came in at 4,672. We do have 3 outstanding booths that will kind of increase that by a couple of $100 as well. Going into some of the expenses, our expenses really didn't vary too much from previous years. I think it was an extra $295 that came in this year. So again, this all includes printing, decorations, the mail outs. We do a mail out of all the rack cards to all the residents throughout the community. And then we also send it out to through the 2 schools, Ferris Glen and St. Thomas Algonquin, to all the students. So all of the printing, the decorations, obviously our fee for the 15,000, which includes the project management, the marketing, design, and communications. Event logistics, so security and parking, electricity and draperies. So that came in at 7,706. Again, our draperies are always the most expensive one of the most expensive line items, which usually come in just around $5,000. However, when you put in all the time and effort that they do put it up, it sometimes is worth the fee that it's associated with. the advertising and radio. So we also did include the video creation for CalCell as well in here. So it was just under $1,500. We were able to get a good deal with the 90.5 FM radio station this year. So typically our radio budget is around $1,900, and this year it came in around $1,100. So that was great to have them on site, as well as their other, we run 1 week of commercials leading up, which again is another way to promote our platinum sponsorship levels, which is a good way to get them recognized throughout the community. Food and beverages was just under $900. So we were able to get the pancake breakfast from the lead team, as well as lunch from both Perron's Fresh Mart, and then Mully's Farm also provided all the desserts. So I think it was great that we were able to support 2 local companies within the region through the lunch venture. And when I went back to Perron's to return some of their items, I was able to speak with Dennis, and he had said he had witnessed a lot of increased traffic that day after the trade show. So even just seeing that economic impact of hosting the event locally and Perron's just being down the road, they did witness additional traffic in their establishment too. So that's wonderful to see. And then our entertainment, so the face painter, bubble soccer, as well as our live entertainment just came in over $1,500. So our total expenses this year were $28,753.33, which in turn relates to around $4,668 in profit, when really that's just coming off the total that the municipality had earmarked at the $17,000. So again, we like to kind of show the progress of where we've come from in 2016, where we were kind of looking at a loss of $3,000. And now we're kind of, again, it's not technically a profit because it's just coming off the contribution to the municipality, but it is nice to see how we are transitioning to make the event more appealing to the municipality and the contributions. And again, that really is a huge testament to the sponsors that are coming on and being able to increase that sponsorship, as well as hopefully in future years, really being able to build out the vendor recruitment process now that people are feeling more comfortable and getting into those in-person networking events. Before I move on from the budget piece, is there any questions, or do you want to save questions till the end? Save questions to the end?
Sure.
Any? Okay, perfect. And again, we do have this a vendor evaluation that goes out at the end of the show. So we tallied all of the evaluations that were collected, which were over 35 surveys, so a good number of them returned them back. So we have 9 traditional questions that we kind of look at. So looking at how the pre-trade show information was, if they enjoyed the venue, the booth, really felt that it was a value for their money, how the check-in process was, how satisfied with the time of year of the show, as well as their connections that were made, the advertising, as well as participating again. Now the lowest mark we got was the 4.2 average, which is the advertising component. Traditionally, that is one that is lower, and it's really just a thing of timing and marketing. So we have got some ideas again of kind of getting out on social a little earlier, maybe increasing our radio expenditure and doing it for 2 weeks instead of the 1, as well as maybe looking at some other print areas this year in future years for increasing that market reach. So as you can see, 4.8, so the majority of people are interested in participating again, and we didn't receive any scores under 4. So kudos to the municipality and the staff and everyone involved in putting on such a great show that obviously the vendors are seeing and are happy to attend in person at this event. Some of the feedback that we received, again, we like to share this because it helps moving forward for future years for planning. So a few of the positive ones, obviously, that they've been involved in the show since its inception. It's well organized and it's a unique show, and they enjoy the breakfast and lunch options. We incorporated bingo this year. So we had a randomized selection of booths, and we encourage people to go around and connect with them, get signed off, and then enter the name in for a raffle or prize at the end. I did receive feedback from other vendors that they actually connected with people that they traditionally wouldn't usually due to the bingo cards, so they liked them. However, there was a comment that was brought forth where some of the children, because they were running around with the bingo cards, could have been interrupting the connections that were being made with the adults. So I think moving forward, if we can kind of look at doing it maybe just to one per family or one to the adults and not having the children engaged in that type of activity, it would be a positive moving forward, because like I'd said, some of them that I had heard actually make good, genuine connections that they may traditionally not have, because they wouldn't have stopped at their booths. Some of the comments again around the advertising and social media should have started a little earlier and easier to find. So this was the first year that we didn't have like a standalone East Ferris Business Networking Facebook page. So I'm sure people are used to just going to that. So again, it's just for them to learn that it's now an event under the municipal Facebook page and not its own standalone page itself. Again, a couple of the comments came back about reducing the show time from 9 to 3. So previously the show has been from 8 to 4. So we listened this year, shortened it to 9 to 4. However, now they're asking for 9 to 3. We do cautious this because the more you shorten it, the die out time will just get shorter and shorter and shorter. So it's just something to be mindful of, that it was brought forth. But really, when we look at evaluating it, maybe it's just putting some fun activities near the end of the afternoon as well, just to kind of break it up. Great experience, made lots of new contacts. Again, breakfast for all vendors. So we do provide each booth with one ticket for pancake breakfast, and we encourage everyone to then purchase other tickets for their other vendors, so that way they're also contributing to the fundraising initiative. However, that was just a comment that was brought forth, and we just wanted to make sure that it was shared with everyone. And again, being mindful of allergies was something that was mentioned. However, we did try to be cautious this year of having gluten-free and vegetarian options as well, just to make sure that everyone was kind of thought of moving forward. And that was kind of it for some of the feedback there. Again, people do enjoy having the breakfast and lunch option. And then a one little comment there was having eco-friendly cutlery. So little things that we can make little changes on moving forward that can make a difference to the show itself. And that is it for my kind of update. So I don't know if there was any questions or discussions about the event itself, or if anyone had any questions about the budget that was presented or any of the feedback. I can start.
Thanks, Natasha. Appreciate the overview. Again, it was very well put out to the public as well as the local businesses. I thought it was great. A comment is we had quite a few new vendors this year. And when I went around and spoke with them, and it seems like they're going to be coming back. So we had some other vendors that normally show up, and they didn't show up this year. So hopefully we can capture and get them back also, as well as our new ones. So bump up our numbers quite nicely too. So, but no, it was great. For not having a trade show for 2 years and seeing the numbers that we've seen from Natasha, I thought it was just like just a win-win situation for the community as well as the local businesses and the municipality. So kudos to everybody, and as well as Karen Jones, the consulting. So.
Thank you, Stephen. Again, even just to echo some of those comments of, there was a lot of new vendors this year, which is exciting to see. And I know through some of my conversations with our older vendors or traditional vendors that come and they weren't able to attend this year, I know that booth coverage and workforce was an issue that did come up a few times. So that's something that hopefully gets resolved for future years moving forward. And again, it is nice to have that mix where it's kind of new and existing vendors themselves. So. Thank you.
Comments? Questions?
Oh, just a quick comment. I actually enjoyed it this year. It was nice talking to people again. People like talking to you. So it's also an opportunity for people to have one-on-one. We've had issues for a couple of years and we want to talk about it. It's just nice to have counsel there. But, some of the comments are made were very well appreciated. Some were needed to be said, and that was good. It was good to have one face to face. So I mean, thank you for that. It was very, very well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
I concur. It was nice to be out and having people and we had a lot of local support, which is really nice. No, hats off and your team. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity. This is definitely one of our favorite events of the year, so thank you.
Other comments? Mr. Kurt, yeah. Were you delighted with everything?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was a great event. I think it's really encouraging. One of the best slides that I think Natasha put out was the one showing a steady increase in revenues and just general involvement in the event from the year it started. It just goes to show that it's a successful event every year because every year we build on it and it gets more popular and every year basically. So yeah, again, Karen Vincent's also and Natasha in particular did a fantastic job. Big thank you to them.
You have a very special demeanor and good way with people, Natasha, and also the whole team at Karen Johnson. So it makes a difference. And Mr. Messi, thank you very much for aligning the full collaboration of the municipal staff, their involvement. And you know, comments there that said about the staff and everyone involved in organizing the event. So thank you. An excellent report, and congratulations to the Economic Development Committee for the advisory advice as we move forward. I really like the fact, I'm not sure if it was the first year we had lighter drapery, but I think so, and it was really different, it made a difference, it made the hall much lighter, so whoever decided to do that made a good call.
Perfect. We wanted to change it up a little. We did look for the blue, but it wasn't your blue. So we just chose to go lighter. So no, that's good. That's good. I'm glad that you've seen that. And hopefully moving forward, it will definitely be more of a full trade show floor now that everyone's excited and networking and back in action, which is exciting.
And on behalf of Municipality of East Terrace, congratulations to all, and thank you, and look forward to the event next year.
Thank you so much. Perfect. Well, thank you for the opportunity and for coming, and everyone have a wonderful evening.
Natasha, can you give me host?
Yes, I can. And Greg, I will also send you this
Thank you.
presentation in case you want to share it.
Great,
Thanks, Natasha. Find it?
Yep. There we go.
Perfect.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, so we proceed with committee reports, and actually
Probably a special meeting coming soon. Go out there right now, the guys are working to catch up, we're just getting some new equipment in, so we're trying to get that organized, the staff doing an awesome job to short staff also right now, so it's a little tough, but we're doing our best, or they're want to touch on anything else?
No, it's just the staff have got are really working hard, doing the best they can. And, fortunately, we had a lot of rain. That's one of the issues, dealing with culverts and a little bit of flooding here and there, but nothing serious so far. And we've had a little bit of a break from this.
and it's very impressive when you drive around the municipality and you see all the work that's going on. You go on the Village Road South, and there's the we did the hot rolling. I mean, that's wonderful. The work that was done there, it's really well done. And Lake Neswansea Road, all paving of the shoulders. I know that's there's a lot of public works involved in that as well.
And there's some more work coming up in August, and I should touch base on this, we have some more work coming up in August for Kierland Road and as well as Swayway Road, so.
So it's very impressive. And then when you was come here, there was the internet work as well. So it was everywhere in the municipality, things were going on.
What's going on?
And yeah, so it's good. Great.
Just a comment through in there. Again, today was proof again that you're responsible on your property for beaver dams. And we're on the move out this morning, it took 4 4 driveways on Highway 94. I mean, it made a real mess down there, so. Right at the bottom of the hill, on the right-hand side, you'll see where they washed out one concrete driveway or concrete barrier. Washed it right out, the culverts, the interlocking stones, the next one down, so there's 4 of them will wash right up to the
Yeah.
hospital. It fell right, yeah, so it came from Deerland Road somewhere, so. Again, just for people out there, that you are responsible for your debt and your property, so make sure when you do let go, it causes a lot of damage downstream.
Sure did. Wait. They refer to it as Calendar Creek, but a good portion of the damage was certainly in East Ferris in that sense for the homes. Community Emergency Management Committee, there was none. Fire and Emergency Services Committee, nothing to report. Planning Advisory Committee, you have a meeting, I understood, tomorrow night. Committee of Adjustment as well, or it's a Committee of Adjustment, right? Recreation, Parks and Culture Committee, nothing, anything to report. Economic Development Committee, we just spoke about the trade show. Anything else to report?
Nothing too much more, right?
No, our next meeting is scheduled for July, so we'll be having a meeting next month, so we'll have something to report then.
Communications Committee, we don't have anything to report. A municipal office project, it was nice. All of the municipalities, the staff and council, we went to visit the new premises that are under construction. And we were all delighted to see the premises, and we congratulate all that are involved. We were especially delighted to see the size of the council chambers. That was a concern for us because it's certainly not quite as large as the Colville Park Hall. But we concluded that it would be quite perfect. So we were very happy with all of that. So anyway, it looks like we're on track for the fall, which is wonderful. And yes. Library board, coming to the library board, we do have a meeting and minutes, and I don't think you were there, Dr. Robbie, so I'm not.
Speak to the next part if you want.
Yes, absolutely.
So yes, I wasn't at that meeting on June 6th. However, Jennifer and the board provided a little preview on the local history policy, I guess if you will, on how the library will collect and organize and preserve and provide access to local history, and also put together a list of what is currently available. And this is a good, I think that this is a really good way that the board, because this conversation's been going on for quite some time, feels is within our means at the library at the moment, and just letting people know what's available too. So if you have any questions, I can ask and let them know. And I'm hoping this is sufficient, because I know that this was a topic of conversation that came up a little while ago. And if there's any suggestions, I can pass them on. So open to comment. Sure.
Just one comment, actually, we talked about that about a month ago, just jokingly saying that the library started way back when myself and Marie Millette and Ray Champagne spearheaded and got the thing going. I just happened to go look at a job on Highway 94, and guess who's living there? She moved back as Marie Millette. So she's back in the municipality again. So it'd be nice to recognize her because she had a lot to do with the library where it is today. And we talked about history, right?
Boy, that's a good comment. Good to know. It's a good comment. Other comments or? But personally, yeah, I was very delighted that Councillor Long to see the policy. So what good work, and I do agree with you that I find it was a good starting point. We didn't know how, I know no one knew how to tackle quite how to proceed, but I think this is an outstanding step forward and the right approach. So I really well done.
Sometimes these exercises are good because it helps us figure out where we are. You know, like I think at times there was like some moments of trying to figure out what we wanted to do and what steps people wanted to take. But I think Jennifer's really good at organizing these types of things, and there's lots of good input. So the board is, I don't take the credit here. It's definitely Jennifer and a few more board members who really spearheaded this.
So it's a step. So you sense the energy and the excitement about moving forward with this as you read the policy. That's how I read it.
Yeah, I just think it feels good to kind of set expectations, because one thing for certain is that I know that Jennifer, I don't want to speak for her, but Jennifer and the board, they want to meet expectations. You know, like they want to do right and they want to go above that. And so I think this just helps kind of create those boundaries and set everyone up for success, and also show the public if they do have something to contribute, how they can go about it. And yeah, I agree with you. It's good. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Champagne, for reminding us of how we started down that road for the library. Police Services Board, we have a meeting on Thursday, and it's a really full agenda, and we have a few letters from citizens that have written to us with some concerns, and so we're going to be reviewing those letters. And there's also a recommendation that we go forth and print some more signs for slowing down. We've had a tremendous request for more signs. We had 100 printed, and so we think that even though we don't hand them all out, we have money left in our budget. The recommendation will be to use maybe some of that for it, and maybe keep the rest for next spring to interest the people to say, bring your signs out, because they're going to store them, and we don't want them to throw them away and bring them out in the spring.
In the budget, our road committee recommended we put $7,500 to $10,000 aside for signs.
Yes.
But there's been such a positive input from the signs that are out there now that if you had to take a little computer to pay Paul, I don't think it's the end of the world, because there's been a lot of positive impact. And a lot of one thing Steve and I heard at the trade show, because we wanted the trade show together, was a lot of people saying, where can I get some more signs? So, and you know, when the neighbor puts it up, and it might have more impact than a generalization sign that's large.
Correct.
And
Yes.
it's a personal touch.
Yes.
So I wouldn't be afraid of saying pickups,
Okay.
that's because there's budget money put aside, that we put aside for larger signs. Okay?
If you drive around, it looks like there's more than 100 signs.
It sure does, yeah, and they're well displayed, they're right out, right by the traffic, so I think they've had a good impact. Okay.
So just to know, so if anyone's listening, there will be some more signs in a few weeks. Hopefully, the Police Services Board will support that. So moving on, we come to Madam Clerk. You have the report this evening on accessibility for the elections.
Yes, I do. It's a simple report. It's for information for council. The report will be posted online on our municipal website. It's just advice and to look at the barriers and identification that's removing the barriers that will affect electors that have accessibility. We go over and above for electors, like the last municipal elections. We had somebody that was confined in their house, and we went over and above to make sure they voted. And we will continue. And at the end of the elections, when the reporting needs to be done, if we do hear comments from residents, then it's implemented in the report going to council 90 days after the elections, and then will be put aside for the next term of council for the new report and will be implemented in our accessibility. I just have a resolution accepting the information. So I require a mover and a seconder, moved by Deputy Defendant and seconded by Councillor Lottie. That council for the municipality of East Ferris accepts the recommendation from the clerk contained in report number clerk 2022-04, and that the 2022 municipal elections accessibility plan be received for information.
In favor? Harry, thank you so much. Wayne, thank you for all your work, because there's a lot of preparation and so well done on that clerk. No notice of motions, we move to bylaws. So Monsieur Chassé.
Here, Mayor Rushford, I can speak to the next item. We've got a bylaw to enter into tonight for an agreement with NOHFC for funding for the medical center. So that funding was already announced. I believe it was back in, might have been around March, and we're getting the agreement now from NOHFC.
A mover and seconded, Councillor Kelly, and seconded by Councillor Champagne. Whereas council for the municipality of East Ferris deems it expedient to pass 3 readings of the following bylaw this session, be it hereby resolved that a bylaw to authorize the execution of an agreement between the corporation of the municipality of East Ferris and Northern Ontario Heritage Fund Corporation for funding for the medical center be read a first, second, and third time passed in number 2022-30, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and clerk and sealed with the seal of the corporation.
Favor? Thanks so much. Just quickly, while we're on medical center, I believe internet has now been brought into fiber optic into the medical center.
So Mayor Rochford, right now, we use Net Spectrum, so it's using a tower.
Okay.
But I know that Net Spectrum just finished putting fiber at the road at the medical center. It's not been connected yet.
Okay.
But a few months back, we had heard that by August, we would have fiber operating to the building.
Alright.
So I'm thinking they might be ahead of schedule. But I know last week they were at the driveway. Yeah.
We move on now to, there's a number of planning related bylaws. Monsieur Kirby?
Sure, thank you, Mayor Rochford. So there are three bylaws that are all similar in nature. They're closure and sale of road allowances and other pieces of land owned by the municipality. All three of these are follow-up bylaws to resolutions that were previously passed by council endorsing the projects in principle. So I'll start with the first one, which is bylaw 2022-31. So this one is the sale. It actually involves a partial swap of lands at the end of Cedar Bay Road. So this came to council previously following a site visit that our Director of Public Works, Anne Boucher, and myself and Mr. Steve Vaughn had. So the end of Cedar Bay Road has an inadequate size turnaround for our operations. So the adjacent piece of road allowance, Mr. Bond was looking to purchase that piece of road allowance. So we basically negotiated a deal where we would be given the land we need to build an adequate size turnaround for the snowplow and other operations equipment. And we would sell him the road allowance section at a 50% reduced rate. So based on that deal, this bylaw comes in at a sale price or with a sale price of $4,450, plus covering all municipal costs, including legal surveying, etc. So that I'd be happy to answer any questions on this one. That's really all there is to this bylaw.
So do we proceed each one?
I think we can proceed with everyone and then pass the resolutions for all
Okay.
three.
All right.
Sure, I'd like to do that. Okay, so the second one is another road allowance closure. This one is for Donna Couch, who's the owner of property at 52 Mullins Lane. So this one is actually directly adjacent to the road allowance in the last bylaw that we looked at. So they did the survey work together for these two applications. So this one here, we had an appraisal done for this property, or the section of road allowance that she wishes to purchase. And our appraisal from one of the appraisals came back at $10,000 right on. So our recommendation in the bylaw is that we sell this road allowance at the $10,000 mark, plus all municipal costs again.
And we had the appraisal because it was a larger profit.
That's correct, yes. Okay. So moving on to the third one. So the third one, this one has been going on for quite some time, and I'm happy to bring this forward to you to wrap up this one. This is the municipal land we have on Deerland Road. So you may recall that there was a series of very small individual parcels that were distributed in a strange pattern across the area that we're looking at here. So we had to go through a number of steps to consolidate these parcels of land, register ourselves as owners with the registry office, and we completed all of that now. So this is the land that Borough Resources, so Lance and Alexander Johnson, they gave a presentation to council last December, I believe it was, where they basically explained what their interest is in the land and what they're looking to do as far as setting up their business on this land goes. So they're looking to move from North Bay to set up their new location in East Ferris. So what this bylaw accomplishes is, it does two things. It consolidates all the road allowance sections that basically intertwine between all of the piece of lands, and it also consolidates all of the lands on the old subdivision plan. So by doing those two things, we're able to merge all this land together and sell it to the Johnsons, and then they can proceed with their business development plans. I do want to touch on one thing in here. We got 2 separate appraisals done for this bylaw. The reason why we did 2 separate appraisals is because the way our bylaws are written for road along sales, we have to specifically do one for that. And then we also have to specifically do one for disposition of land that aren't on road allowances. They're separate as far as our bylaw sales go. So both of the 2 appraisals together, both done by Morelands again, came in at $30,250 for the whole section of land. I want to bring this up because it may seem low, just because of kind of recent, changes in real estate market and what some of the pricing has been. But the big reason for this is because the entire front part of the property is a wetland area, and there's only one area that a driveway can go to the side, and there's significant cost and difficulty in bringing a driveway through there. So part of the expense and difficulty for them to set up their business in this location is factored into that sale price. And on top of that, these were surplus lands that we had no ability to use. So while the purchase price may seem low at face value, I think we're getting a very good return on that investment by bringing a business into the community and utilizing land that we would not have been able to use otherwise. So that's the reason for the valuation. And that's the end of this bylaw. So I'd be happy to answer any questions on all 3.
That's also $30,250 plus all costs.
Plus all costs, yes. It's always plus all costs.
So there's no cost to the township.
No, that's correct.
Also, cost for
So total $45,000.
It could be much more, right? Yeah.
But everything, all 3 together, 45,000.
Yes, all 3 together would be about that. That's right. Yeah.
Any questions on any of the specifics? Okay.
Thank you. I require a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Champagne and seconded by Councillor Kelly. Whereas Council for the Municipality of East Terrace deems it expedient to pass 3 readings of the following bylaw this session, be it hereby resolved that a bylaw to close and convey a part of the road allowance and shoreline road allowance adjacent to 106 Cedar Bay Road, described as part of the road allowance between concession 2 and 11 and 12, and part of original shore road allowance in front of lot 11 and concession 12, concession 2, part 1, Plan 36R 14823, Township of East Terrace, District of Nipissing, be ready first, second, and third time passed in number 2022-31, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and clerk and sealed with the seal of the corporation.
All in favor? Well, carried. Thank you so much.
The next one, mover and seconded, moved by Deputy Mayor Kahana and seconded by Councillor Lockheed. Whereas Council for the Municipality of East Terrace deems it expedient to pass 3 readings of the following bylaw this session, be it hereby resolved that a bylaw to close and convey a part of the road allowance and shoreline road allowance adjacent to 52 Mullins Lane, described as part of the road allowance between concession 2 and 3, lying between lots 11 and 12, and part of original shore road allowance in front of lot 11 and 12, concession 2, part 2 and 3, plan 36R 14823, Township of East Terrace, District of Nipissing, be read a first, second, and third time and number 2022-32. And then the said bylaw be signed by the mayor clerk and sealed with the seal of the corporation.
All in favor? Carried. Bon, thank you.
And the final one, I require a mover and a second, moved by Councillor Lougheed and seconded by Deputy Mayor Kahana. Whereas Council for the Municipality of East Terrace deems it expedient to pass 3 readings of the following bylaw this session, be it hereby resolved that a bylaw to close and convey all road allowances on Plan M180, being Man Avenue, Canada Avenue, Gibson Place, Minto Place, and all laneways with the adjacent lands being lots 1 to 80 on Plan M180, described as lots 1 to 80 inclusive, Plan M180, Man Avenue, Plan 1M80, Canada Avenue, Plan M180, Minto Place, Plan M180, Park Gibson Place between Man Avenue and Canada Avenue, Plan 180, Lane Plan 180 North of Lot 9 and 16, Lane Plan M180 North of Lot 51 and 39, Lane Plan M180 north of lot 2330, Lane Plan M180 north of lot 63 to 68, Lane Plan M180 north of lot 74, Lane Plan M80, 180 between lot 19 to 15 and 16 to 22, Lane Plan M180 between lot 51 to 62 and 39 to 50, Township of East Terrace, District of Nipissing, be read at first and second time. Be read at first, second, and third time passed and numbered 2022-33, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor, clerk, and sealed with the seal of the corporation.
Favor? Long carried, thank you so much. And so now, Mr. Chelsea, are you taking the next one?
I am Mayor Rushford.
Okay.
So for this one here, bylaws 2022-34, we're looking to amend one fee on the fees and charges bylaw, specifically related to civic address signs. The reason being is the price of metal these days. We have to go up to $100. So currently it's a cost of $50. The post itself is $50 now. So by the time you take a post, a sign, and the installation, we're looking to go to 100. Just one thing for council anyway, by the end of this year, going into the next term of council, we have to review the fees and charges bylaw anyway, because I believe 2022 is our last year for fees and charges. So this is kind of a temporary thing. If prices go down, then we might be able to adjust it and then reduce that.
Thank you. I require a mover and a seconder for this bylaw. Moved by Councilor Champagne and seconded by Deputy Mayor Callahan. Whereas council for the municipality of East Terrace deems it expedient to pass 3 readings of the following bylaw this session, it hereby resolved that a bylaw can amend bylaw number 2019-22 under Schedule B Fire Services with respect to the establishment and requirement of the payment of fees for information, services, activities, and use of corporation property be read a first and second time. Be read a first, second, and third time and passed as 2020, passed and number 2022-34, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and clerk and sealed with the seal of the corporation.
Favor? Thank you. Okay, so now we come to correspondence and information items. Deputy Mayor Callahan, are there any that you would like to comment on?
Sure.
Or
Just want to comment on number C, the mandatory firefighters certification. It's just a vote and confidence with regard to New Market's correspondence there. Like I said, I'm pretty sure there's other councillors that voice their opinion on this, is that hold on, because we're going to be going for a little ride on this here. So the province and fire departments, other councils have made their voices quite aware that they're not happy with regards to this movement. So just throwing our vote of confidence with New Market through AMO also. Also in letter H, Mr. Glenn Brophy, as indicated prior, just briefly. Thanks a lot, Mr. Brophy, for your letter, first of all, and it's quite lengthy. And that's what I would like to do. And I apologize, Councillor Kelly. I want to touch base with you, but I would like to. My position is I'd like to bring it to the Public Works and have a special meeting with the Public Works manager and be able to review it and go over it and deal with it that way. And I think in all fairness to Mr. Brophy, he does need some correspondence back. So that if we could take some time, we'll set that up with the manager, Mr. Boucher, and we'll set up a date, and probably I assume it's going to take a couple hours for that meeting. So we'll bring it to Public Works if everybody's okay with it.
Yeah, just a comment, like I wasn't there in 2020 when this was all done, so are we gonna have a report after you're done to see exactly what you guys are agreeing to or not agreeing to?
Absolutely, and that's kind of, it's an ongoing thing. There's a lot of moving parts with it, so I have to kind of sit down with Antoine to see exactly where we're sitting at and what's going on. So I don't know if Councillor Kelly, you want to respond to any of that too, so.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I also think that we have to get the legal opinion,
So,
because in the letter, there's a number of references to legal status and so forth. Now, previously, we had one of our lawyer make a report on it, if you recall. So I think this should go to all of council, because there's a lot of money involved. And I can see where the developer would be questioning what's going on, and also the neighbors, including Mr. Brophy. So it's a very large, it's a little convoluted. So there's a lot of things at play. I think a legal opinion would be necessary. In the meantime, we'll have our meeting, because we can get some initial costs from our engineer. So I'm in favor of a special meeting. And then I think after that, after the report, we're looking for some legal opinions. And that would be through our solicitor. Don't you agree, Mr. Trutcher?
Yes, Councillor Kelly, and I can also say that I know Antoine's worked quite a bit looking at this, One Mile Road, and the costs and the survey work, with a lot of work's been done. I just believe that there's been other priorities that's kind of been put aside. So we'll get to it for sure, but I like the direction of sending the letter off to the Public Works Committee to start with, and yes, for sure, we need a legal opinion, which we've received a legal opinion, as you've stated in the past, regarding this issue.
Yep, thank you. Yep, so it was about three different moving parts, and we'll come back with our report.
Thank you, good job, yeah.
thanks, Mayor. That's it for.
Councillor Kelly.
I had both of those, and I can't stress enough the importance of backing up Newmarket, AMO, Phenom. I was really concerned at the candidates that Phenom hosted here in North Bay, when the premier stated that, well, it's going to be a bus going around all the municipalities, and all the testing is going to be done, and it's not going to cost extra and so forth. And I didn't think it was an adequate answer, just my personal opinion. And I'm not happy with it. And I know a lot of fire chiefs across Northern Ontario are concerned about the status of their fire departments, as you said. So it's a huge issue, and it's not being addressed properly, in my opinion, so far. And I've seen no backup from the fire marshal's office, and there's no money coming from the province. So it's a huge issue. The other one I've got is number I, which is Lake Camagnon. And the request for using some of the money that was granted. And I'm not sure the status of that grant. Jason, can you help me out here, please?
Sure.
So basically, we have been applying jointly with the Compagnon for the past 3 years now for funds that we have applied to our fireworks. But because we're not having fireworks, the grant that we received, we can't apply the monies because it has to be for a Canada Day event. So Les Compagnons have offered to organize an event using the funds, and it will be on behalf of Municipality of East Paris. And so basically that's the intention, is they're going to do a Canada Day event in East Paris, and they will use those funds to organize the event.
And they're looking for an answer.
So us, we will provide the grounds free of charge, because it's being done on our behalf. So it's like a contractor organizing on our behalf for Canada Day event. So we're very fortunate, I would say, at
And it's a family event, correct?
yeah, so yes, I think it's
For 2 hours?
I'm not sure exactly, but they have balloons, yes, face painting, that sort of, it's an outdoor family event.
Yeah, they said for 2 hours, for 6 and
Seems like
Oh,
a good
I'm
idea.
sorry, I never knew there was an attachment.
8 p.m.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, yes, correct.
But they did say time is of the essence.
Yes, because they need
uh,
to plan it.
they
Today is
they
June.
have to plan it, so. So we're looking for an answer tonight, are we?
Yes, correct. So maybe,
I'm in favor of that.
with the tenants, did you have?
I have a drafted resolution with the council's blessing if council.
Should we do that right now?
Yes.
Yes, okay. let's
Okay,
do
so
that.
I'll put it on the floor. I'll put the resolution on the
Please.
floor.
And then we'll come back to correspondence right
Yes,
after that.
because the council didn't have the resolution on their tablet because it wasn't part of correspondence. I require a mover and a seconder, moved by Councillor Champagne and seconded by Councillor Kelly. Whereas a request has been received from Les Compagnons to offer to the municipality to manage the organization of a Canada Day events on July 1st, 2022 in East Ferris. And whereas Les Compagnons is requesting council's permission to host a 2-hour event on municipal grounds located at 392 Highway 94 Corbeil Park Hall between the hours of 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. to celebrate Canada Day in East Ferris. Be it hereby resolved that council approves of this request from Les Compagnons from their for their planned events for the Canada Day in the municipality of East Ferris.
On favor? Okay, thank you so much. Any other correspondence items, Councillor Kelly?
No, I'm fine to.
Councillor Vaughn?
No, they've all been covered, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Champagne?
Yeah, I just have F,
Wait.
Navajo Conservation Authority. I wasn't at the last meeting, but Chicha Gauda is the new CEO. And at the same time, Brian Taylor's retirement is this Thursday at 1 p.m. at the, obviously at the CEO. So, you know, if anybody wants to go, I'm not sure if you're going, Greg, I will be attending. But I remember being on the board when Brian was fired. Going back a long 70 years that was, but
I'd say he's been on there for
forever. Well, since we were at, since Ron Oak Street. That's where the first conservation authority had.
Wow.
So anyway, he came into a real jackpot and he actually turned things around. When he first got on the board, that's when the whole issues on top of the hill and the new building and things were not very good at the time. And he turns things around. So here we are today. So it'd be nice to have some support and I will be there.
Would you like council to send a letter of congratulations?
That would be a good idea.
Because they've been great to deal with, they really have.
Yes.
Oh, I was just saying the staff has been also.
Exactly.
Scott.
Yep. And I know, Greg, quite frankly, you count on them heavily.
Yeah, the conservation authority is one of our most important partners, and all of their staff and all departments are responsive and helpful. And Brian is a great leader, so I'll be there.
Oh, that's for sure.
And we're back to meeting in faith or in person yet, so I'll be there at the meeting next, the 22nd, just next Wednesday. So, thank you.
Good morning. Champagne. Anything else? No? Okay, so on that note, we move forward with approval of correspondence and information.
Mover and seconded, please, moved by Deputy Mayor Graham and seconded by Councillor Lawson. That council approved the correspondence and information as circulated with the agenda of June 14, 2022.
On favor? Carried. So we move now to refer from our last council meeting, resolution for delegations at the annual conference. And we had said last time that we wanted to have, so we will have to be mindful too of maybe there will be changes to names of ministries and so there will be something to, I think we have till June 24th, but I'm sure they'll make these adjustments for us. We also wanted to add, in view of the our community safety and wellbeing plan, the item on childcare. We wanted to add a delegation to the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services. And in speaking with our MVP, he also suggested Ministry of Education as we move forward to ensure that we have full support for our daycares in our community. So those would be two, but for the same item. We would like to recommend as well that we do so in partnership with the DSAP, the division that's responsible for childcare services. We're preparing a paper that will be coming to council that highlights the issues that we want to bring forward at this meeting in August. I had thought that we might also want to put for natural gas as well. We'll put that delegation for that.
For what?
Natural gas.
Okay.
Right. That could be another one. I think we're okay on the internet. I think it's moving forward. So I don't think anything else that comes to mind.
Just the natural gas one, but I think there might be, some people, there might be another application process that may be coming up this fall. So,
Yeah.
for
Fine.
Jason's view.
Hopefully
we get all this.
Yes. Okay, so I agree.
It's called Paul 19.
Okay, Mayor Rexall, you mentioned Ministry of Children and Community Social Services for childcare, but there was another one.
Ministry of
with that.
Ministry of Education, or the Ministry of Education, and also the ministry responsible for, I'm not sure, if does that come under infrastructure, the natural gas, or is it energy?
I believe it, yeah, it's in there.
Minister of Energy, and then bracket natural gas.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, anyway, that's a good list. If we all need to go to Ottawa, okay, it's in August, so.
So we have the resolution covering this.
Line them all up.
Yes, exactly.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Everybody.
Okay, I require a mover and a second here. Moved by Deputy Mayor Cameron, and seconded by Councilor Champagne. That council approve of a submission request for a delegation at the AMO conference to the Minister of Children and Community Social Services and Minister of Education for childcare, Minister of Energy for natural gas, and the Ministry of Indigenous Affairs. Good, great.
What we used to call it, the war pit.
Yeah.
Bear.
Yeah, the bear.
Did we need an all in favor?
Yes, you do.
We need an all in favor. C'est bon, thank you. Okay, so now we have a resolution just for support for humanitarian
Yes,
efforts.
just-
Okay.
A mover and a second, please. Moved by Councilor Lawhead and seconded by Councilor Kelly. That council supports the resolution from the town of Arnprior regarding humanitarian efforts in Ukraine.
All in favor? We'll table the resolution and I'll turn it over to Councillor Champagne just to say a few words about some of the recent developments. And so if you want to table the resolution, I'm sure.
A mover and a second. Moved by Councilor Kelly and seconded by Deputy Mayor Cameron. Whereas council for the municipality of East Ferris has supported the resolution from the town of Arnprior regarding the support for humanitarian efforts in Ukraine, be it hereby resolved that the municipality of East Ferris supports the Ukraine family that has been welcomed to our municipality and make a donation to this family in the amount of $1,000 through the established GoFundMe account.
And so that's been done, but just before we vote on it, did you want to say a few words about, you've done some great, incredible work with Councillor Champagne in fundraising and having for the trade show, you've done great work. So did you want to say a word on that?
No, it's just some special thanks out there. There's still stuff coming in, but special thanks to the Knights of Columbus, and the George Stockbridge Foundation, Family Foundation. They put $5,000 in, and some of the family members also put money in. They're identified as the GoFundMe page. They're looking to try to find the right vehicle right now for the couple. And like I say, there's still people, even today, it's up to $12,300 now. So that's great for a small municipality. And I see there's a fundraiser going on tomorrow, I believe, it's in the waterfront. On Facebook and one also. But just don't forget, we like to look after our own, do it at the same time, and let's keep it up because we're doing a great job. And thank you for East Ferris and the residents for coming out to support this, because it's really, really great. Thank you.
So yes, well done. And so on that note, any questions before we vote or comments? All in favor? Thank you so much. We will need to arrange some form of photo, I would think at some point when they do purchase a vehicle, because as a result of our efforts and our support, going to help them purchase a vehicle, because if they're living in East Ferris and they need to travel to work, you need to have a vehicle. And so at some point we'll plan something, and maybe Councillor Champagne, you can tell us when will be the right time for that.
Yeah, let me give me a couple of days, and we'll see what we go to, but next week we should have something in place. Okay.
Approval of accounts payable.
I require a mover and a seconder. Moved by Deputy Mayor Cameron and seconded by Councilor Champagne. That council approved the general accounts for the municipality of East Ferris as indicated in the check register dated June 14, 2022, in in the amount of $1,491,230.47.
Favor? Thank you so much. So we will be proceeding in camera, and no, any other business, but we're all under, in camera, and so on that note, we'll proceed in camera, and I'm good before, so we will be touching on 4 items. And so basically, first and foremost, we'll be discussing our CEO performance. We'll also be discussing labor issues related to public works or wages, matters pertaining to a resident, as well as matters pertaining to fire chief. And so on that note, 4 items, and we will be relieving you of your duties for this meeting, and the CEO will be taking the minutes of the in-camera session, as well as the returning to the regular session of the council meeting in accordance with the agenda. So thank you very much. So 2 minutes if you need to proceed to the ballot.
Oh, you have to go in camera first and
Oh,
then.
we- yes, correct. Correct, thank you.
Okay.
And then you'll turn it.
Are we in Canada?
So please be proceeded.
I need a mover and a second.
Sure.
That's all.
Hey, Margaret.
Thanks, Rick. So moved by Councillor Champagne and second by Councillor Kelly that this meeting proceeds in camera session at 7:13 PM under section 239(2) of the Municipal Act in order to address an item pertaining to item B, labor relations or employee negotiations, and item B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal and local board employees.
And did you say the 4 items?
And they're all covered.
Because item B and item D, there's an item for each, 2 for each.
All in favor? Thank you so much. Everyone's good to proceed.